The most fierce competitor tennis has ever seen, Rafael Nadal, was seen sobbing on camera. Not following a devastating loss. Not in a post-retirement contemplation. Rafa just shattered as he was at home in Majora witnessing a 20-year-old Filipino girl, with her racket in hand and tears flowing down her face, fall to the clay during a match thousands of miles away. The video went viral on the internet. Millions of views in a few hours. People were riveted to their phones and hadn't given tennis much thought in years. The same question is being asked by everyone. Who is she? And why is she so important to him? No one anticipated the depth of the answer. Imagine Majora's Rafa Nadal Academy. Rigid timetables, sun-baked clay courts beneath a cruel Mediterranean sky, and elite juniors from all over Europe subjecting their bodies to daily hardship and repetition that pushes the boundaries of endurance, intellect, and soul. This is not a gentle place. Here, champions are created, not found. Imagine 2016 now. A 12-year-old girl from Manila arrives with one bag and a dream that is too big to fit in it. Alexandra Eala is petite, silent, and nearly undetectable. I'm from a nation where tennis isn't the main topic of conversation, there isn't much infrastructure, and the road to professional tennis is structurally more difficult than other youngsters in Europe. No family dynasty, no well-known last name, no safety net. Just a scholarship and a readiness to put up with unrelenting hardship for something she loved. Things are not softened by the academy. Potential is not rewarded by it. It breaks people who aren't prepared to change, rewards discipline, and punishes reluctance. Even at 12, though, Alexandra was unique. She took in every lesson, every exercise, and every biting criticism as though she was destined for it. Every tear, every blister, and every aching muscle became gasoline. The unprocessed clay beneath her feet turned into a furnace. Years later, Rafa Nadal was moved to tears by her fight because he recognized the same fire and inhuman fortitude in her. He witnessed the bravery required to rise from obscurity to the highest level of professional athletics. In addition to talent, he saw the sovereign will of someone who could change the laws of the game and one day rule over crowds, courts, and history. The world stopped because of this. Millions of people watched, enthralled, because of this. Alexandra Eala is not your typical up-and-coming celebrity. She is a human power that has been tempered in solitude, shaped by suffering, and is now prepared to take the throne that the tennis world was unaware even existed. The standards are extremely rigorous for scholarship players. It's a test every morning. Every practice, every game, every point is an unseen struggle against children supported by connections throughout the European junior circuit, elite coaching networks, and generational wealth. Alexandra Eala had to deal with everything and more. She lost games that she ought to have won. Exhausted and occasionally heartbroken, she trudged back to a dorm room in a foreign nation, only to return the following morning before the sun had fully risen, prepared to resume her training. Even the best champion the sport has ever produced is aware of that calm, obstinate, unyielding will, the kind that refuses to be shattered by circumstances or odds. Rafael Nadal started to see her rise through his competitions, victories, and struggles with injuries. Just observation, no official coaching title, no clipboard courtside, no formal agreement. And he felt a familiar reaction to what he saw in the young Filipino girl. From his own early years on those same clay courts, he recognized the fire. When pressed, she didn't crumble. She took it in. She changed it. She put it to use. As a junior Grand Slam champion by 2022, Alexandra won the Australian Open girls title with a style of tennis that left pundits unable to find words to describe her. When she entered the professional ranks in 2023, she faced opponents who were hundreds of points higher than her, older, stronger, and more seasoned. She lost a lot of battles, but her spirit never faltered. She returned for each and every one of them. No one gave Alexandra Eala a point that she didn't put her all into. The Miami Open, one of the highlights of the WTA hard court season, was scheduled for March 2025. Eala showed up. Eala was ranked 140th in the world going into the Miami Open as a wild card. She had no right to be in that draw by all statistical standards. It was filled with players who had dominated the sport at the highest levels for years, top 10 mainstays, and former Grand Slam winners. Madison Keys, Round 2. Beyond her 20 years of age, Eala moved across the court with poise and accuracy. Clinical. The world of tennis blinked. The third round. Even the most seasoned experts have been perplexed by the explosive, erratic ball hitting of former Roland Garros champion Jelena Ostapenko. After neutralizing the storm, Eala adjusted in the middle of the game, didn't panic, and left the court. Raised eyebrows. Arguably the most dominant force in women's tennis over the past 3 years, this quarterfinal IG Swiatek World No. 2 has won multiple Grand Slam titles. A player whose mental toughness had turned innumerable opponents to rubble in every situation and on every surface. She lost against Eala in straight sets. The internet for tennis went down. At the same time, the videos went viral on all platforms. Statements of public shock were released by former players. Broadcast reporters rushed to find terms that could convey the gravity of the situation. Nothing else appeared to fit, so the term generational lit up commenting feeds like wildfire. The private message then arrived. Rafael Nadal made a direct contact after formally retiring a few months prior in a farewell ceremony that ended the sporting event. The impact was evident even if the contents were never made public right away. Eala's quick post-match interview went viral in a matter of minutes. Another turning point in a tale that was quickly becoming legendary. With an intimate, overwhelming, and utterly genuine face, she mentioned hearing from Rafa. She expressed her gratitude. She said that she was unable to adequately convey the significance of his remarks in a press conference. In any case, the world understood. It had already been witnessed by everyone who had observed her that week. The left-handed forehand was delivered with controlled aggressiveness and top spin. The unwillingness to give up in initial transactions. The quite miraculous capacity to rise when the pressure became intolerable. She performed as if she had deeply internalized the appropriate lessons. Not from a coaching textbook, but from a man who had exemplified each of the values she was currently exhibiting. Years before this, Rafa had poured that wisdom into her. The world finally saw the results in Miami. Time travel to Eastbourne, England, in June 2025. 2 weeks prior to Wimbledon is the grass court season. Eala came at the last championship points. She was just one shot away from winning her first WTA championship with a single, flawless stroke. She didn't see it. Then, with a surgical cruelty that only tennis can produce, the match was lost in the following one. Her rival leaned closer. Behind her, the previously boisterous audience descended into a tense, oppressive silence. The kind of quiet that falls when something horrible is happening and nobody can stop it. She sobbed after losing. Not controlled sobs. Not a staged show for the cameras. She sobbed like a person who had tried everything and was still unsuccessful. Uncovered, completely heartbreakingly human, raw. It has nothing to do with professional expectations, strategy, or optics. It was captured on camera. The video went viral right away. Rafael Nadal noticed it on his phone in Mallorca. With just 4 words, he reshared the video. 4 words that, depending on your relationship with sport, with loss, with a particular aching of almost, would either constrict your chest, fill your eyes, or do both at once. 4 lines from a man who had lost his own Wimbledon finals. No analysis, no recommendations for improvement, no well-crafted public statement. From both sides of the emotional gap, a man who grasped championship point falls apart. A man who wanted Alexandra Eala and everyone watching to hear one clear truth, knowing exactly how she was feeling at the time. She would return. Within 48 hours, there were hundreds of thousands of comments. Nadal lovers, tennis enthusiasts, Filipino supporters, and even some who couldn't name a single player currently competing. Beneath those 4 words and the weight they bore, they all came together. WTA 250 event, late season hard courts, Guadalajara, Mexico, September 2025. It's the kind of competition where careers subtly depend on outcomes that seldom receive the attention they merit. After persevering through a 3-set semifinal the day before, Eala advanced to the final. She was obviously exhausted. Observers who were neutral were cautiously optimistic. Miami is listed on the resume. Yes. Yes, but no prior knowledge can adequately prepare you for the psychological impact of final exams. That was already demonstrated by Eastbourne. The opening set was lost by her. It appeared as though history would repeat itself for about 8 minutes. Into the subsequent set. The narrative appeared to be about to repeat itself. For a brief while, the atmosphere was tense as her opponent sensed the change and built points with increasing assurance. Uncertain of what might happen next, the throng leaned forward and became quieter. Then something inside Alexandra Eala changed. No one could pinpoint the precise moment. No obvious release, no dramatic gesture, and no coaching intervention. She just changed. Something controlled, fierce, and completely definite replaced the first set's hesitant hesitancy. Each stroke has a purpose. Every motion exuded power. Her opponent lacked comfort, rhythm, and a safe haven. The second set was won by her. The third set was won by her. The championship went to her. And 3 years of sacrifice, dorm nights in Mallorca, junior losses, professional disappointments, Miami upsets, and Eastbourne agony all came together into a single moment of relief when the final point landed and reality suddenly hit her body. With her face buried in her hands and her racket forgotten next to her, Alexandra Eala fell to the court, totally overcome. The crowd in Guadalajara, mute observers of a voyage decades in the making, gave her every second of her extended stay. Rafael Nadal, the former champion who spent 10 years pouring his values, his competitive philosophy, and his sincere belief into this young woman, watched the video from Mallorca all over the world. A fissure appeared in his chest. It was impossible to contain the mixture of pride, empathy, and realization of what she had gone through. Within an hour, the video of Nadal's response went viral. Views in the tens of millions. Headlines in 40 different nations. In every language that mattered, the identical statement was written by journalists who covered tennis and those who never gave it much thought. Rafael Nadal sobbed as he watched Alexandra Eala triumph. November of 2025. Rafael Nadal sobbed. Not for himself, but for a young player who had earned every ounce of that joy through fire, sweat, and unbreakable will. Nadal returned to a practice court precisely a year after the most heartbreaking retirement in professional tennis history. Just practice clothes, 2 rackets and Alexandra Eala. No competition, no cameras, no press commitments. They collaborated for 2 hours, but neither of them had ever worked in public before. It was both technical and emotional, structured and spontaneous, and both personal and professional all at once, according to people close to both and eventually Eala herself in an open interview. Nadal paid close attention to her forehand, weight transfer into the ball, follow th through angle, grip pressure at contact, and the mechanics that produce top spin without sacrificing directional control, not abstract ideas or coaching platitudes. These were the exact nuances that distinguish a historic forehand from a good one. He had spent 20 years honing his skills against the best opponents the sport had ever seen on hard, grass, and clay courts. He was providing the blueprint to her. Some parts of the therapy felt almost surreal, Eala noted afterwards. She kept telling herself that it was real, that the person whose name was on the building around them was the one standing across the net, feeding her balls and giving technical advice with the authority of someone with 22 Grand Slam victories. She gave an account of one particular rally. Nadal displayed the forehand technique himself, striking the ball with a quality that reminded everyone watching why his name is usually brought up when discussing the best player of all time. He moved with the meticulous deliberateness of a guy protecting surgically repaired joints. She claimed to have completely stopped moving. Just observed. Allow the ball to pass her. Laughing, Nadal instructed her to continue playing. She claimed that she nearly couldn't. The Guadalajara video traveled